this is it? I'm not sure.
Oh,
Maybe
let's
this isn't
go.
it.
Let's go. Let's go. La, 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 let's go. Let's go. La, 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 lo, lo, lo,
No, this is
lo,
it, man.
lo, 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 lo.
I'm just setting up my stuff for my stuff because everybody's going to be like, we need the map. We need the map. I don't need the map. Shut off the map.
We got it,
Well,
baby.
they got fast delivery, and that's usually a good thing, especially if it's a pursuit.
We're just trying to deliver the package, man. What's going on here? Just want to
Mallory,
deliver.
you want to take a pursuit? Building a Chiron. I feel so special. Hey, do we know what the original want is besides fast delivery? Stolen.
Stolen. Oh. All right, let's get it, baby.
He's right out the window. Yep, hey, well, this time it's not spotting Stu, but we definitely have a pursuit. It's happening out here in the Pacific Palisades area, but we're heading into Malibu. It is going to be on Pacific Coast Highway. That truck right there just did some very, very dangerous maneuvers out there. They were in a tracking, following type of situation. That vehicle stolen, as we're understanding it. It definitely, clearly a delivery truck from the Lowe's company. But what was going on was at Pacific Coast Highway and about sunset, this vehicle basically was being tracked by the helicopter, the LAPD helicopter. And when the black and white started getting in close, well, that's when the driver decided, well, this is going to turn into a pursuit. Went into the oncoming traffic and started moving, didn't hit anybody, everybody kind of moving out of its way, and then the pursuit was definitely on. California Highway, excuse me, it's going to be LAPD. They had a couple of units behind it, and there they are. They're kind of just following back, probably because they're worried about this type of situation. Pacific Coast Highway, we've had a lot of crashes out here, especially with that high-speed driving, and now we have somebody in a stolen truck. We don't know if that driver is familiar with this vehicle or if this was a crime of opportunity, and you can clearly see it right there. Speeds are really starting to pick up.
Ooh.
Let me turn on some of that
high-tech
stuff. We have 55 miles an hour, 60 miles an hour. That's not what you want to see on Pacific Coast Highway. And then, of course, with this bigger truck coming to a stop right there, running through another red light. This is these are the problems that we've been worried about, and then some pedestrians in that crosswalk as well. But again, stolen vehicle pursuit happening right now. Pacific Palisades is the area. Malibu is going to be our next stop. And, of course, California, I keep saying that, LAPD, the ones behind it right now. They have an airship up ahead, up above, and they're keeping an eye on it, but maybe the Sheriff's Department will get involved, especially if it gets into the Malibu area.
Ooh, tight squeeze, baby.
Yes.
Tight squeeze,
yeah,
okay.
You can see this thing rocking, especially when he's going off the roadway like that. Then you get off the roadway, you get into those dips. It might not be a bad thing if he does something like that, and then the truck gets stuck or just gets stopped along the hillside there. Right now, those speeds are definitely kind of picking up. You can see it once again, but this driver really not concerned about any of those red lights or any of the traffic. Every time we've come into any kind of situation where there are other vehicles around him, he's made every effort to get around, meaning going on the wrong side of the road or far over to the right. So this vehicle clearly not stopping, clearly being very defiant of the laws. And again, continuing on, LAPD, I'm wondering if they have dropped there. They are way back there. I don't want to get too far away because we're coming up on some other traffic is what I just heard. It's kind of up there, but you can see all that stopped traffic. This is where it's going to get tense once again. If this driver decides to go on oncoming traffic around those corners, we just don't want to see any of that. He's choosing that right shoulder, which is probably the better bet right there. But again, squeezing through, and again, just kind of making his way. Look, he's actually being blocked by another bobtail truck. I don't know if they're doing that on purpose or maybe he just wants to get off to the right to make a right turn. But again, these tense situations, you just don't want to see anybody get hurt, not even that suspect.
Damn. Fast delivery Lowe's. It's a Lowe's truck? Mm-mm. How you guys doing, man? If you could hit the like button, welcome to the stream. We got an unexpected stream before the stream I'm doing after. Where's everybody at? Where y'all at? Where y'all at? Oh, I missed it. I didn't get a notification. Wake up.
You
Wake
know,
up.
I haven't heard, and I've been trying to peek. It's funny that you just brought that up. I really was just looking inside the cab, trying to figure out if we could get a good look at the driver. But right now, it's just one of those situations where we have to keep the signal up. That means we have to keep up a little altitude, and of course, LAPD, they're down low as well. But that truck kind of rocking around, I'm kind of wondering if it's really heavily loaded, meaning maybe there's a lot of supplies in the back, or possibly this is empty. But it does seem to rock a lot, especially when they start making those hard turns, which leads me to believe that there is some weight in there, which doesn't make the situation any better. As this thing being heavily loaded, that's going to create some issues for performance. And of course, you got a little bit of rain out here. I know Maria's been talking about that. The roads are starting to get damp, especially out here in the Malibu area, officially now in the Malibu area. And again, this is going to be roughly, it always gets kind of weird, but we're heading north. We're heading north out towards the northern part of Malibu, clearly. Pacific Coast Highway is the road. The speeds, well, 50 miles an hour, that's not slow, but at least they're not getting up in the, here we go, up, taking up some of that center divider. But it's kind of blending in with a lot of the other traffic. I'm going to get a little bit wider to get an idea what's happening ahead of it. You got a little bit of traffic again up ahead, but it seems like he's moving along with the flow of traffic, which is good. But right now, LAPD, they're going to want to bring this to an end safely. Now he's starting to take up that center divider once again. Don't know why. There isn't really anybody behind him anymore. It looks like the black and whites that were on the ground have dropped farther back, or maybe even discontinued, possibly because of the location, meaning we're getting into the sheriff's area, and or they might be going into tracking mode. They're hoping that the driver of this truck might calm down a little bit, drive a little safer, maybe try to do one of those, I'm going to stop here, get out and run. That's what it's all about, public safety. That's what law enforcement is always thinking about first. Yeah, you definitely can't see anything when they come around those corners. And we've been covering a lot of these high-speed crashes out here. And, we never get an idea of how fast those cars are going. We just say that they were speeding. Right now, technically, he's kind of in the pack down there. He's going with the flow of traffic. So I venture to say that when we see those numbers, 40-something miles an hour, that's about right. And that would also mean that whoever the commander is this morning that basically told the units on the ground, just back off. We're going to let the helicopter handle it. It is working. That truck driving a little bit less reckless is probably the best way to describe it. And as I say that, now the speed's starting to pick up once again. Believe me, I'm not blind to the fact that it says fast delivery on the side of that truck. But right now, you just don't want to poke any fun at this, because this could become a very dangerous situation, especially on Pacific Coast Highway. Bigger truck like that, and the way this driver is driving this morning.
So we got a little surprise chase today. Okay. On Twitter, they said that it was called off. I don't know. I don't know if the choppers are just going to stick with it, though. Still kind of hauling ass, though. Still going. It is kind of wobbling, like he was saying. Shifting from side to side. Where's he going, though? Is he going to Mama's house?
As far as law enforcement goes, the only thing that I can say for sure is the LAPD helicopter still above it. They're keeping an eye Also would venture to say that, and again, this is more of just a guess, is that they are calling it out to the sheriff's department. Now, is the sheriff's department going to get involved? That's a kind of a call for other people that are pay grade much higher than mine. They may, I'm using the word may, they may be setting up a little bit ahead of it, and possibly will be using trying to use some sort of spike strips, maybe to pop some of those tires or let the air out of those tires so that it turns this, and brings that truck to a stop. As it stands right now, it's more of a wait and see type of situation. LAPD, they're biding their time. They've got that helicopter over it. They're going to keep an eye on it. And of course, we're here as well. But as far as on the ground, lights and sirens, at this moment, nobody is behind it in an actual pursuit. And it actually is working. You can see those numbers dropping there, that truck driving more of the freeway, the road posted speeds, and keeping safer type of a situation. And that really is what it's all about. That's the only thing that, law enforcement, they want to catch the bad guys. They want to get the criminals with those cuffs on. But in the end, it's all about safety, and that's what they're thinking about right now. And it does seem like their tactics are working. Those speeds have dropped. That vehicle's driving a little bit more safer. And as I say that, you can see him kind of picking up speed once again. But as it stands, it's going to be more of a follow along and see what happens. And right now, that driver, that stolen vehicle, using that center lane to pass that one vehicle that is probably driving the speed limit. And you can see him picking up a little bit of speed. And again, they're coming up probably on another light, but I'm going to just take a peek. But they're not. But there is a lot of traffic out here, and there's that LAPD helicopter I was talking about. So they're keeping an eye on it, and hopefully this driver doesn't actually collide with anybody, and maybe this will just kind of come to an end where the driver decides, this is a spot, I'm going to jump out and try and run. But other than that, this is all we can do right now is keep an eye on what's going on.
Oh, did he just take a red light there? Yeah. So, Stu, the language important, obviously, when we cover these breaking news types of stories. You just said at this point it's a follow along, see what happens. Does that mean it's not a pursuit? When do we categorize it as a pursuit? Does it depend on if there are black and whites following this vehicle? That's when we would call it a pursuit.
Well, when I call it a pursuit, that would be when I hear the law enforcement actually say we're re-engaging the pursuit or we are in pursuit.
We are going to talk about Ryan Garcia after. I never heard of this guy until I think yesterday or today. That is going to be the story for today. Pulled up a bunch of links. Some of the mods sent me links as well. Found some posts. And I'm going to give some of my thoughts because there's a lot of people rallying behind Ryan Garcia. I think that's kind of the problem sometimes with social media. And he's getting behind causes that everybody can get behind, of course. Well, to me, it looks like a mental crisis, unless he's just doing it for clout for the upcoming fight. But these people online, especially people that are fanatics, they'll just jump behind anybody to their own detriment, even if the person is having some type of crisis. So we're going to talk about it on the next stream. We got a lot planned. What's coming up next?
A little blurry for our viewers. Believe me, I know it. I'm frustrated as well. That's actually just rain on the lens, making it a little difficult to see.
How bad is it raining there, Stu? Because I know that area has been plagued with debris and mud flow along PCH in Malibu. In fact, in one area going down to one lane as this box truck gets farther north, or west, I should say, on PCH, there is limited access in that area as well.
Yeah. The guy, Ryan, he jumped on Gaza, some of the children in Gaza. He's jumped on a lot of different causes or current big topics that anybody can get behind him. I know the problem is too is like if you disagree with the way he's going about it, then they say, well, you co-sign all the things that he's speaking out against, which is just ridiculous.
Can't say it, but I can tell you that the LAPD helicopter, he got called back. He's making that U-turn. He's heading back into the city area. We're passing the Pepperdine area right now. That truck kind of blending in a little bit as far as speeds go. As far as Sandra, as far as your question, hopefully, I was actually kind of hoping that maybe we would get into like those traffic situations where it does come down to one lane, and that would be the opportunity for law enforcement to make their move, kind of just make their presence or try to block it in or whatever they could do. But right now, it's just going to be a rainy road, Pacific Coast Highway. We're northbound, and we're going to keep an eye on it. It really is everybody's call. If the sheriff's department gets involved, that's up to their bosses, their commanders. Somebody's probably listening and making a decision right now. And also availability. They might not have a unit that is patrolling nearby, and they might have to get into position, and then again, it's right back to the safety. How fast do we want our guys to get there in the rain on Pacific Coast Highway?
Stu, do we know how this whole thing began? Was it a call that came in? I know it was a stolen box truck, but is this person familiar with the company? Did they work there? Do you know anything about that?
No, Jen, I don't, and I wish I did, because those little nuggets of information really, really help as far as making a decision call for us. Or does this guy know this truck, or was this a crime of opportunity? Was this maybe an unhoused person that saw the keys in the vehicle? All those questions we don't really know. We do know that it was some sort of following, and that I would venture to believe that there's a tracking device on that vehicle, because there were no black and whites behind it until those ones that we saw arriving. But somehow that airship, the PD ship, they knew that this was a stolen vehicle. So my guess, it's some sort of tracking device inside there. I don't know if we still use LoJack or whatever the ones that they use, but I believe there must be something like that in there. And that also might be one of the reasons why law enforcement is basically just saying, what, let this guy drive this out,
forgot about that term.
Vehicle, stolen property can be replaced,
Special
injuries, somebody losing their life, that's something entirely different.
Yeah, it's certainly looking a little more dangerous as the rain starts coming down. That box truck approaching an area where, as you see from some of the barricades right there, where it is narrowing down in terms of the road because of previous debris flow into the area on PCH and obviously construction there. As it is, PCH being a dangerous road to travel on, especially when you talk about something like this and the nature of how narrow that street is in the Malibu area approaching Ventura right now, as well as the amount of traffic that PCH really handles in that area in terms of vehicles as well as cyclists. Obviously, it's raining, so not as many out there at this point, but clearly look at how narrow it is. If there was more traffic, it would be an even more dangerous situation still.
Oh, definitely. And, I'm actually thinking, we do so many of these and we've seen this so much in the past. I worry that the roadway might get congested, meaning they're, down to one lane where we are right now, and then possibly traffic, and then this driver going into oncoming traffic. We've seen him do it a couple of times already, and that really is something that has been going through my mind. We just don't want to see anybody get hurt. He's making that move right now. He's been following that Jeep for quite a bit. He's probably looks like he's trying to speed up to get around it. Why? You know what? This is the thing. It's like, who are you running from right now? You're not running from anybody. You're running from your own demons as far as that goes, because there is nobody chasing that vehicle right now. Yes, of course, you have a lot of eyes on it. We're watching it, and hopefully that some law enforcement is probably watching our picture as well. There comes some Caltrans. I know Sandra was talking about it, and this is exactly what you've been saying. We've had a lot of mudslides out here. That far right lane has been closed in a lot of locations. And now look at that truck, and look at the amount of water that's on the road. You can see that those trails coming from those rear wheels. So there is standing water on that roadway. So when they speed up like that, believe me, I do get a little bit more worried. And again, you just saw that kind of weave, and then that thing rocks like that. It just all adds and adds and adds. But again, I'm sure this is what law enforcement, somebody's probably watching, maybe our digital feed or maybe the show right now, and they are kind of making a decision call. Do we get involved? Do we not? As far as the Malibu Sheriff's Department, Lost Hills Station, I am trying to listen. I haven't heard them talk about it, but I know for a fact that they're aware that this is going on.
We want to show the video from earlier because right now what we're seeing is this car just going, or this truck just driving in a straight line, not much happening intense-wise. But look at what happened earlier where he went on the opposite end of the road, right, against traffic. There you see people in their vehicles unsure of what's happening, but they do give him space, or him or her. We don't know if it's a man or woman behind the wheel. Give that driver space so that they don't get hit. There you see the police car in close pursuit. So quite a bit has changed from earlier to right now, but definitely the driver driving recklessly, making a number of changes and violations that are illegal to do so. The roads being wet obviously complicates the matter further because you don't know what is in this truck, right? What's being carried in the truck, how many people are in the truck, what lengths this person is willing to go to try to escape the police. And yes, this is already a very difficult road to drive on when conditions are perfect, let's say, on a sunny, dry day. But now we're watching this vehicle. It seems like he is or she is picking up speed as we continue to watch.
Looks like a guy to me.
Yeah, definitely. And we just did a little bit of a tight shot in there and just kind of grabbed a look at that driver the best we could. I don't know if you guys saw that or not, but it definitely looks like if it is a unhoused person, it's a very well-dressed unhoused person. As far as we could see,
unhoused.
Just the driver.
That's a California term.
And the cab is empty. The speeds, though, they're getting up into the 60-mile-an-hour mark. The only plus to that is that there's not a lot of other vehicles around at this portion of the Malibu area. So that's a benefit, but with those higher speeds, if there's something comes up in front of him or something catches this driver's eye, this could become a real problem very, very quickly. You can see right now, though, the way we can gauge the amount of water on the roadway is those rooster tails coming off those rear.
I don't know if this thing could end up like hydroplaning at some point, or just you could lose control.
And also, you can get an idea of the speeds. That's pretty accurate because we're full push right there, and it's solid on that vehicle. So this truck going about 65 miles an hour. Let's be real about it. As we're getting closer to Zuma,
unhoused.
His hands is out the window. I wonder if he clearly has the window down. I wonder if that's because he's starting to sweat a little bit, realizing, getting worried about what's happening. As far as the ride goes, you can see it kind of moving around. Looks like we're set. Nope, I thought maybe we were setting up for Kane and Dune, but just running another solid red there, very nonchalantly, which also worries me. If you have that type of confidence, before a great fall comes great pride. We all know that one. So we're going to keep an eye on it for sure. The speed's definitely picking up as we're getting over towards Zuma. And Pacific Coast Highway, where are you going to go with this? I mean, if he decides to take one of those canyon roads, it's going to be even more hair-raising with that truck in making those tight turns. So the other plan might be, this driver might be thinking, I'm just going to go up to Ventura. I can tell you, Ventura CHP, they're a feisty breed up there. I'm going to say that for sure. If they're probably another solid red right there. If they get that far and we're still with it, this is probably going to have a much different type of ending than down here. But as it stands, this is a stolen vehicle, kind of on its own now, making its way northbound on Pacific Coast Highway, and we're getting into the northern part of Malibu right now. Roads wide open, but definitely raining out here this morning.
Yeah, they're no joke in Ventura, and he is approaching that county line about 10 miles, I believe, being familiar with that area. But gosh, you could see all that rain coming down and just how saturated PCH is right now. And look at the speeds in that rain. That is certainly frightening because not only if there's a spin out that occurs would that person be jeopardizing themselves, but also all of the other cars, even on the other direction, the oncoming traffic in the other lanes, they're at jeopardy as well. But look at all of that rain. You could tell by, as Stu was mentioning, as he called the rooster tails coming off of the tires right there, all of that slick rain. Ooh, and he's going to the left. I don't know if he's sliding around, Stu.
Wow! I think he might have just clipped that. There might have been a little paint swap right there on that K rail. And again, that kind of stuff. You just watch and you're just thinking to I get that a lot. It's like, what are they thinking? I have no idea. I clearly have no idea what this driver's thinking. Possibly, maybe he was on his phone right there. But you saw it. You called it out, Sandra. He was kind of wobbling back and forth, and for a moment I was thinking maybe it was just the high speeds, and we didn't want to. Just kind of drifting racing through those lanes, trying to take advantage of the empty roadway. But then when he kind of clipped that little thing right there, it makes me think maybe he's just not paying attention, which is just adds to the trouble. You can see he went through a lot of water right there, a lot of muddy water, so there is a little bit of a mudslide. But continuing on, and northbound is the game right here. We're going to be getting out of the Malibu area before we know it, getting into Ventura County. I'm not sure if California Highway Patrol is going to be waiting for him up there, but we've covered enough of these, and I know the jurisdictions, and it seems like whenever we get into that Ventura County area, those California Highway Patrol guys, they don't appreciate any kind of chases on their freeways at all. And this is going to be in the Pacific Coast, off of Pacific Coast Highway, but it's still part of their jurisdiction. So we're going to keep an eye on it for sure, as I'm being told, and we'll keep watching it as we're making our way northbound. But the rain definitely getting worse, traffic getting lighter. But it's a trade-off for sure. It's still going to be very dangerous, especially with those speeds. Yeah, and that driver paying less attention. I don't know what he was doing right there. But going a little wider, just to give you an idea of what's ahead. It looks like it's open road for the most part. But he hasn't slowed down or stopped at any red lights since we picked this up.
Stu, he is not listening to our advice here on Good Day LA, which is if the road shines, take your time, amongst other things. He is not listening to that advice.
He's definitely not listening to that excellent advice, Jen. But we're keeping up with him for sure. A lot of oncoming traffic, which is interesting as well. But I'm kind of wondering if the Sheriff's Department might be trying to set something up, at least to be in the area just in case he does kind of just pull over. Road. But we never know what they're thinking. But for this vehicle just to stop and have this guy get out and run in this neighborhood, I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. There's really no place to hide. There's no place you can kind of blend in. It's all mansions and hillsides out here. So it would be very difficult for that, or probably the driver thinking he's got no place to go. So he's going to have to drive up into the Ventura County area to actually even try to find a place just to get out of that vehicle and run. There's no way that this person's going to get away with that truck, especially everybody knowing it. And then, of course, we believe that there's some sort of tracking device in there. So right now, though, you can see it's getting more rainy. I'm going to have to talk with Dylan here for a bit, but he hasn't shouted out any problems with visibility as it stands. He just said we're all right now. So we're just going to keep an eye on it, keep watching it, and keep trying to figure out where he's going to go, what he's going to do. And I'd like to know what's in the back of that. That's my personal question, because it's a Lowe's delivery truck, so, there could be any kind of number of things in there, and I don't think it's a rental. I don't think this is like a customer rents this to bring his stuff to wherever they need to be. I think this is what, Lowe's uses to deliver things to job sites and or homes.
Well, I hope they get their money back on that. That's all I can say.
No. Yeah, no money back on that one for sure, but just kind of keeping an eye on it. It's in speeds. I'm wondering if that's accurate right now, because we are getting a little bit farther behind it, because I don't think he's going 80 miles an hour, but he is starting to take those turns a little hard. No red lights coming up. Neptune's Net should be here shortly. That is a great place to eat if you're in the area. I don't think the suspect's going to be stopping there today and trying to grab a live lobster. But you can see it. Let me take a look here. Look how wide open this roadway is, and how much farther we have to go before even another intersection. Again, we're just going to kind of keep watching and seeing what's going on.
Yeah, as we keep watching, we are approaching the noon hour, and when we do, we will continue to follow this stolen box truck on Fox 11, KCOP, formerly known as Channel 13. Fox 11 Plus will go back to original programming, but we will stay on top of this on Fox 11 as we watch this stolen box truck. And let's take a look at moments ago. The rain is coming down. We see this box truck going along PCH, and right there, it looks like he clipped part of the K-rail along PCH, and this reminds everybody how slick the roads are right there, how unpredictable this driver can be. Obviously, we don't know his mindset or the person's mindset at all and why this is even happening. But as Stu is mentioning, this box truck approaching Neptune's Net, that is the Ventura County line, and clearly won't be stopping for a bite to eat or to say hi to all the bikers up there in Neptune's Net. But we are approaching the noon hour, and we've been following this for quite some time as the stolen box truck has made its way towards the Ventura County line, up the Malibu coast, weaving through traffic at some point in downtown Malibu, and clearly wide open right there as the rain keeps coming down along PCH.
It is one of these ones where we just kind of watch and wait. It's he's keeping those speeds well above whatever's posted down there. I can guarantee it. I just saw the brake lights come on. I was actually thinking to myself, that's the first time I saw that. There does seem to be a sign saying that there is another light coming up ahead. I just saw that. So I'm going to just kind of take a peek and see how much farther it is up there. But maybe that wasn't a stoplight or a signal coming up. Maybe that was just more of a watch your speed type of light, because he's definitely moving well faster than any of the other traffic down there. You just don't know also. I mean, it is a delivery truck. It is early in the morning. You'd venture to say that whoever the assigned driver to this was, not that suspect, they probably filled it up, or it was at least full with gas when they started. And those trucks, they can go quite a distance. So as far as running out of fuel, I would venture to say that's not going to be happening. And as soon as I say it, he might run out again.
I'm surprised he can keep such good control. Like anytime I start to drive and there's like water like this on the ground and rain, I get a little nervous. I slow down because I think like I'm either going to hydroplane or like lose control. This guy's just full throttling it into the mountains, wherever this thing is taking him, up Pacific Coast Highway. Oh, he's coming into traffic now. But it looks like he has 2 lanes at least. The other side's 1 lane. He has 2 lanes.
Or now getting into the afternoon hours, starting to use some of those center lanes, starting those speeds picking up once again. Don't know why he's speeding it up. Maybe he's thinking that, it's getting close to noon, I got to be somewhere. But I just worry when you start seeing it swerve a little bit, or him going through those bigger puddles. I don't want to see this thing hydroplane. I just don't want to see anybody get hurt.
All right, Stu, it is 12:01, and we are here on Channel 11 talking about what's going on right now. We've been following this for the last, over 30 minutes or so. This stolen box truck. On the bottom of your screen, on the right-hand side, you will see this box truck make its way across the lanes there, going against traffic, and really just aggressively trying to weave through those cars as those cars realize, wait, something's going on here. We don't know what, but we don't want to get hit. So they start to back away. You see a police car there closely follow the box truck and lead that car out of the way. And there it goes, and it's been on the go since, and it's been picking up speed, slowing down a little bit here and there, but we've seen a number of violations.
Yeah, we do want to show you another clip right here as the truck went closer up towards the Ventura County line in the rain. You saw that truck right there. Look, clip this K-rail because perhaps the roads are slick, or perhaps the driver was just being erratic at that point. But this is along PCH, more past the downtown Malibu area, as we saw that heavy congestion and the weaving through traffic. Now that stolen box truck approaching Ventura County.
This is a close-up of the guy,
you're seeing
apparently.
Moments earlier, the initial point of this, when that stolen box truck was weaving through traffic as a...
Somebody said this is him as he passed by.
Was cutting in and out a little bit as you approach Ventura.
Oh.
Do we have you?
If they're getting too far. Stu heading on to the boondocks.
I know the signal...
Uh-oh.
The issues we're going to start.
Oh no! I think it's
restricted air.
Oh.
Point.
Okay, I did make out that he has restricted airspace and a different set of rules to follow as he makes his way up north.
So, as we've been covering this, we've seen conditions out there with the weather also decrease as far as the amount of rain we're seeing on the roads. The roads are getting slick and wet. It is making it difficult and dangerous for this incident as we see it play out in front of us. I have noticed there aren't many cars on the road right now as far as the direction that this stolen box truck is going, which is a good thing because we don't know, what's in the truck to begin with, how heavy of a load it is, how experienced the person is who's driving this vehicle as well. And so sometimes we do see the box truck teetering and we don't know if that person's going to lose.
Let me see if there's any other feeds going on. By the way, guys, the next stream we're going to do is on this person named Ryan Garcia, trending all over the place on the internet, bunch of drama. Is it mental health? Is it a clout chase move? Or is he just speaking the truth? And so, as people say, and even if he's having a mental crisis and he ends up offing himself, at least he spoke the truth and the internet cheered him on. And nobody gave a shit because, hey, he's posting and speaking the truth.
We'll connect.
See, if I was walling out like this, I would have had several people reaching out to me privately, having conversations. But this guy seems like the type of person you can't really have a conversation with like that. Maybe, I don't know, maybe he is though, but there would be a lot of people, not waves of, yeah, come on, go, yeah, oh, yeah. These people would get on a train that's about to go off a cliff, and if this guy told you, yeah, get on, because the track is actually painted in invisible paint, they'd get on the train and fly off that shit. They go right off that shit with him. I'm surprised how some of these people on the internet lack any kind of, I don't know. Let me see, ABC 7. There's actually some sensible people, though, but you'd be surprised to see the flocks of just idiots. I don't know. I don't know. All right. That's offensive. That's not nice to say. All right, ABC 7, let's get it. The chase is still going, baby. Let's get it. Hold on, I'm pulling up right now. There you go.
We'll be coming up on that in just a moment.
Let's get it, baby.
Now,
HD quality. Let's go. ABC 7.
In front of him that is not traveling at a high enough rate of speed for him, and look, he's just pushing him out of the way.
Look at that.
So it did split from one lane to 2 lanes northbound, and now just
gliding
one lane
on the water.
southbound. But boy, that's a tight squeeze on the southbound side, oncoming traffic. Just that double yellow line there, and if he swerves into that now, we are going to have some serious consequences, I'm afraid. There's not a lot of volume out here. There is some traffic coming southbound.
I hear he is a good boxer.
We just certainly hope that this driver stays in his lane here and nobody gets hurt.
Well, the concern that I saw in that last little stretch, Scott, is, you would think a person in this manner would use the shoulder to pass somebody, but there were cars parked on the shoulder. So clearly he or she could see the cars on the shoulder, which led to the middle lane. And that's the terrifying thing, is if this person doesn't have the shoulder available and decides to go into oncoming traffic, again, this is the worry part about this and this kind of driving, where even with plenty of lane, the person's still driving right near the yellow lane.
Thank you so much.
Yellow line.
Yeah, on top of it right there. Yeah, it could be deadly. There's a truck coming opposite direction.
Bro.
Yeah, oh, goodness.
I had just like a Final Destination flashback moment. If this guy would have had swerved, you saw that truck with all that lumber on there? Oh my gosh. Mustard, thank you so much for the 20 memberships. We'll talk about it on the next live, the whole situation with Ryan Garcia, and I'll try to come from different perspectives or understand it. We're going to point it all out.
Just a moment, and we will be in Ventura.
Even Alex Jones, I got a clip where Alex Jones commented on it and replied to it, and he said he thinks there's like some type of mental thing going on. Bro, if he's saying that shit, bro, you know what I mean?
Ventura area into Oxnard, and it'll be a little different situation as far as some of the traffic. It'll be interesting to see if he stays on PCH or actually maybe gets off into some of these residential areas that'll be available to the vehicle, about 5 to 10 miles north of here.
Well, I mean, as we, I'm trying to remember it's pretty much this type of road the rest of the way up into Ventura County, right? I mean, it's
PCH is beautiful. I remember driving up this road when I was in Cali. Pacific, I don't know, whatever they call it. Pacific Boulevard, whatever, highway. Pacific something highway. It's actually super, super pretty, beautiful. You can see the mountains and everything. I think you can ride this up. He already passed it, I'm sure, but I think it's along all the beaches. I think Malibu.
But for the most part, you're right. For the next 10, 12 miles, it's going to be a roadway just like this. But there is a point in time where it does get into a more congested area when you get up into Oxnard.
I think the guy just needs some help.
It looks like he's speeding up to go around some of these cars, because it does look like at times he...
KSI called it out. There's some other big influencers called it out just for this guy to get some help. I'm wondering, there was a post that like it seemed like he was dead, and there's a whole mess with that situation.
As you mentioned.
Yeah, and there's no one behind him, so there's really, it's not like he's trying to get away from anybody. There's not even a helicopter overhead any longer.
The DSM-5.
And there's no way the driver can see us. We didn't see a passenger, and we're not visible, and I don't believe anyone else is. So it's not like he knows the helicopter is following him or there are any patrol cars. But still, he's pretty impatient, and when he comes up on a vehicle that isn't traveling fast enough for him, he really starts to speed up and make his way around that individual. A lot of cases we've seen earlier, regardless if it was dangerous and into oncoming traffic or on the shoulder. Right now, though, it looks like the separation is being consistent, and it appears, at least for now, he's content to travel at a pretty slow rate of speed. What's the speed, real-time speed tracker tell us? Yeah, 40 miles an hour or so.
Well, and that's, as Giovanna mentioned, it does calm you a bit, but see, right here is when he will pass. If he'll stay the distance, but if he's got that left turn lane to go around somebody, that's when he does seem to accelerate. And I think you're
even Andrew Tate was like, if you're gonna want people to believe this story, you're gonna have to be more coherent. Like he said it multiple times. I haven't listened to the whole clip, but I was like, damn. But his last post on Twitter said he wasn't gonna talk about any of this stuff anymore. He's gonna focus on the fight. It sounded like a very type of like a lawyer. One of his media people got a hold of his account and locked his ass out of it.
Yeah, now it's a matter of if the speeds become unmanageable for this person as they're trying to drive, but at least they've got 2 lanes here. Mm-hmm. And so there for a moment, it's just that area, there's always seeming to be some construction going on there. As you head up into the Ventura area, it can get down to 2 lanes. You worry about people who are working. And then the conditions themselves are not good for driving in the best of it. But it's rainy and messy.
It is raining, and as he moves into Ventura, there'll be more rain.
It's been pretty nasty over here, too, with rain. And the thunder's nasty, too. In my area particularly, I've even heard somebody say like they think this area has like some type of electromagnetic field type of shit. I didn't believe it, but then I realized, and there's something about this. The thunder is just nasty when it starts up, lightning.
To get out of the way to avoid being hit.
And he clipped a car.
And he did clip someone. So if this, and then by the way, there was a lot of anxiousness immediately after this section because the person would drive into the turn lane for upwards of a mile.
That's right.
And just put a lot of people at risk.
As we see there, he's in the middle lane there, and actually.
Let me just see if the other. They got feed here. That's what I wanted to check. It looks like they got feed.
Dryer set, and then just go into custody. And be like, see, honey, I got you your washer and dryer. I told you I'd bring it.
It's kind of like, yeah, the same.
You have to install it yourself.
He didn't want to hear from his wife bitching, so he decided to steal this shit and deliver it himself. Just fed up. The false promises from these companies. All right, we got feedback over here. Get ABC back.
Through Camarillo, as I mentioned earlier, we're at Point Mugu Air Base, basically just traveling right over there through their extended center line, and it'll continue to look just like this for about another 5 to 7 miles, and then PCH sort of changes a little bit as far as the congestion or the area that you travel through. But right now, there's a big center median, so we don't quite have the danger we had when PCH was down to just 3 lanes, 2 southbound and 1 north, or the opposite. And I think as far as the danger of him hitting oncoming traffic, that has dissipated just a bit. We'll bring up the real-time speed tracker once again. I would imagine the speed limit here is 65. And so you can tell he's traveling a little faster than the speed limit, but not excessive rates of speed. At least we haven't seen that. And there's little to no volume on this entire stretch of PCH all the way up into Oxnard, from what I can tell. There's a lot of cloud cover up ahead. You're going to see us lose the shot, not our signal. We're high enough now. We shouldn't have a problem, but you're going to see these clouds in just a moment that will obscure the vehicle from time to time. But there are a lot of offshoots. There are a lot of streets to get off now, whereas when you're in Malibu, you really couldn't get off on too many streets, or else if you went off the wrong street, you were going to be into a dead end if you didn't get off on something major like Malibu or Canaan. But now there's a lot of offshoots if the suspect decides to get off of PCH. And there's a big center median. There's 2 lanes in both directions, and fortunately there's not a lot of volume.
We're also starting to see the speed in comparison to traffic, because we saw one person easily pass, and then this truck here is going about the same speed. So at 72 miles an hour, he's not, the driver of the box truck is not the fastest vehicle on the road right now. You're in highway traffic.
And the question now also, as he moves into Ventura, is what will Ventura County sheriffs do, how they will handle this situation?
Scott, have you seen any change, or have you seen any helicopter, air travel, any on-the-ground vehicles, or have they pretty much taken the tack that everybody else has to this point?
Well, it's interesting. There's no helicopter that I'm aware of overhead. We're in Ventura County now, so it'll be interesting to see how they handle it. There is a patrol car, though, coming up pretty quick, and he's about, I would say, a quarter of a mile behind. You look out your window there, Marcel, you'll see him. It's kind of too far for us to open up. We might be able to. It's going to be way off to your left. What's going to happen here in a moment is we're going to have to travel right on top of some clouds, some low-level clouds. So from time to time, we're going to lose the vehicle, but the vehicle will come back in, and that patrol car I was talking about is coming up at a rate of speed in which he's going to intercept the truck. So it will be interesting to see how Ventura County handles this. We can lose altitude now and go through that hole there, because
them boys don't play. That's the one. That's the I guess the city that Stu was talking about, that they don't really mess around when it comes to these type of shit. So it's going to be interesting if they have to get involved. I guess we're just temporarily losing the chase for a second while they get over the clouds.
Because of where we're at least I hope so, and we're trying, but you get an idea what we're dealing with as far as
Windy Hamilton, thank you so much.
It is very wet now. I certainly wouldn't call it a hard rain, but you can tell how slick the conditions are. And now we're coming up into that area where, we're going to start to cross over, and we're going to head up into Oxnard, and then that's that area I talked about where PCH does go through an area where there's a little more congestion. And now there are 4 units behind them, so it looks like they may engage the suspect as we continue north. We're still in Camarillo. Got a ways to go before we're in Oxnard. But they may re-engage. Open up, Marcel. Give me a wide shot. There are 4 vehicles total, patrol cars. And you're going to see one come at the bottom of your screen there. They actually stopped at the intersection, so go back into the truck. They're staying back and not letting the suspect see them. So at this point in time, they really have not re-engaged, but it looks like they're ready to if they decide to. And go ahead, Marcel, and tilt up with the camera. And this will give you an idea of what's up ahead. We talked about this a little bit. There's going to be a little more congestion on PCH as you head up towards the 101 freeway. And so as we head through there, we're going to see some stoplights. We're going to see possibly more pedestrian traffic. And the risk is going to get higher once again now. It'll be interesting to see what the demeanor of the suspect is and just how desperate he is if he comes up on an intersection up ahead where we have a red light. And that looks like that may happen here in just a moment.
Okay, Scott, we're going to wrap up coverage of this on the linear portion, ABC 7, and return our viewers to regular programming. But we are going to continue this chase on our streaming, ABC 7 LA streaming app. So if you'd
So we're watching on the streaming, I believe, the website. Jacqueline Klein says, my whole family lives in Ventura County. This fool made a mistake going to Ventura. Oh, boy.
This special coverage of this chase that is now into the and we gotta. Wow. I'm just going to ask one more time if we want to stay with this for a moment, or if we're going to still break away.
You crazy? Nobody cares about your regular schedule.
We're going to keep with this just for a second,
Nobody's
Scott,
watching that
because now this is
not good. Into oncoming traffic around.
This is the behavior that was happening earlier, and it's just come right back. So we are going to stay with this now. We have officers that have engaged right behind, and the suspect now that has met traffic resistance has taken a much more aggressive measure, Scott.
Yeah, this is just senseless because the patrol cars weren't right behind this individual. So whether he sees the patrol cars or not, he's going to drive like that. And that goes into, the thought process of the CHP at this point in time, who's the lead agency, because they are intercepting this vehicle now. And, you think about the strategy. I mean, you never want to second guess them. But when they get right behind this vehicle, I have a feeling that he's going to start to drive much faster than he was driving before. And there's a lot of, we're coming up, but we're still in Camarillo. We're about a mile south of the 101 freeway headed northbound on PCH. But the real dicey situation is when the suspect comes up to stop traffic at a red light. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here, see if he gets on the 101, exactly how he continues to proceed. The patrol cars, though, you can open up now, Marcel. I think you'll be able to see them real quick. It'll give you an idea just how far behind they are. Keep going to the left, if you would, with the camera. Just let him come out of the screen for a moment. The patrol car is going to go in right there. So there's four of them. You go back to the truck now. There's four CHP units behind the truck, and the truck does appear to be accelerating. So there's a good chance he sees them now in the side mirror. And is deciding he's going to drive faster. And I think that's really one of the reasons LAPD and LA County Sheriff's deputies decided to back off on this. They didn't want to encourage this individual in that truck, in that heavy truck, to drive even in a more erratic nature. Now, if he stays in the right lane, he's going to get on the 101 freeway traveling southbound. That'll be a turn onto the 101 freeway, and it looks like that is going to be the case. So CHP will more than likely engage on the freeway. I believe they're going to do that now. It'll be interesting to see. But the vehicles on the 101 northbound, we're in Camarillo, pretty much on the border of Camarillo and Oxnard. And looks like he's headed back down towards Los Angeles. If he continues on the 101 south through Camarillo, and then, of course, Thousand Oaks, Woodland Hills, that area. Yeah. But on the freeway now, and you can see the patrol cars are behind him.
Yeah, and he's been at this now an hour,
Mustard, another 20 members.
Oh, my God. We picked it up at 11:30, but you were watching it. There was law enforcement on his tail before we picked it up. So an hour now.
You got to remember.
Yeah, about that. Maybe even a little bit, a little bit longer, more than an hour. The speeds here, though, we talked about the weight of that vehicle. We don't know if it's full, but, that's a big truck regardless. The inertia, the speed vehicle, if he's involved in an incident at speed, it's not going to be pretty. There's no question about that. Traffic up ahead on the 101 northbound is very light. The rain is sort of dissipated for the moment. It's not as heavy as it was in Malibu. And it looks like on the 101 north, I don't see any. I can see up into the...
Shelby said he has excellent unhoused driving skills.
Delays.
Is he on 101 south?
He's 101 south.
The 101 freeway southbound.
Yeah.
He's headed southbound on the 101 headed towards Los Angeles. He was on PCH northbound. Once he got to the 101, he picked up the 101 freeway south. We're right at being Camarillo Airport now. We're just coming up on the airport itself. I think I will have to break away from this pursuit probably in the next 10 minutes or so. We're keeping an eye on the fuel. And then I think we have our other helicopter, newscopter, that will take over with the coverage. But right now, I mean, you see the speeds. The speeds aren't really excessive. CHP has backed off. They have 4 units behind him in the right lane, but far enough behind him that I don't think that he actually sees them. I think it's going to be a little more difficult for the suspect to see those patrol cars in the far right lane, quarter mile back, than if they were in the left lane, just with the mirror advantage from his viewpoint. And so at this point in time, we have there the patrol cars. We have a pursuit that doesn't appear to be all that dangerous. It looks like he's able to stay in his lane, push in tight. We haven't seen a lot of that swerving, Philip, that we saw earlier. Maybe a little bit, but not excessive. Still able to stay within the lines in his lane. But boy, it was pretty sketchy there on PCH when he was doing a little swerving, possibly into oncoming traffic. And then, of course, we know how desperate the suspect is to get away when he just would not stop in Santa Monica and went into oncoming traffic, hit another vehicle, but again at a slow rate of speed, and no one was hurt. Yeah. And we certainly hope how this one ends. We cover enough of these things, and it's just so dangerous for the public. I think the strategy is a great one, though, to be honest with you. I think it's much better that they back off and don't get right behind a suspect that they know is desperate to get away. And then have him drive at a more erratic pace, because right now he's basically just driving the speed limit.
Right, and you're not wrong about that, but I do wonder about the strategy change and the fact that the CHP showed up 4 CHP patrol cars. they seemed like they were gaining on him, and then they seem like they've backed off.
Yeah, a supervisor may have saw our picture or somebody's picture and saw that if he did see them, he started to drive more erratically, and they backed off. But they're not behind him at all now. I can't see him at my window. So at this point in time, they've got him tracked. They're making radio calls. They're they're getting the other units in the area aware of what's going on, so that if he gets off on one of the surface streets, they can be prepared. Ventura County Sheriff, they're going to be patrolling this area, so they're aware of what's going on as well. And, at some point in time, the suspect's going to have to stop. He's going to run out of gas. And I really believe, like I mentioned earlier, that more than likely there's a tracker on that vehicle. It's just so many delivery trucks have trackers now. It's sort of unusual for one not to. And that could be one of the reasons they're not, they don't have an air unit overhead.
Well, Scott, just as a measure of housekeeping, we know that at some point within the next 10 minutes, you're going to have to go refuel. We will continue to follow this, but we also want to let our viewers know that we're in the middle of GMA3, what you need to know, and we're going to stick with this probably another 5 minutes or so. Then we're going to let Scott go. Then we'll resume this on, actually, it'll be even sooner than that. Okay, so Scott has gone. So, Scott, thank you for safe travels to go to Van Nuys and refuel. And now we are with Newscopter, and we'll continue to follow this along with Giovanna Lara. But we'll stay here on ABC7 for another few minutes, and then we'll resume programming here in just a few moments.
And if you're wondering what we're following, the pursuit of this Lowe's box truck for about an hour now. We started to follow it at around 11:30. We spotted it, or we got word of a pursuit. When the box truck was on the westbound 10 freeway near the 4.
Not normal, but like right now, he's going about 65. You see it right there. He's in the fast lane. I think a box truck is actually allowed to be in the fast lane. Maybe not a commercial box truck, but at any rate, he's really just kind of blending in with traffic, and that is really what law enforcement is looking for. My bet is, because we're in a ship right now. When I say ship, meaning the helicopter we're in right now, not my usual helicopter, and my
here again. It's like trading places.
Saw when the person nearly ran into a pickup truck, drove into a turn lane, and then through an intersection to try to get away from CHP officers, which had just resumed. That's what you're looking at on the right. On the left is Air 7 HD, another helicopter. We don't have a reporter in that helicopter, so we'll just kind of describe what we see. But we've just kind of logistically made a bit of a change as we're about to wrap this up on ABC7.
Yes, and now he is heading on the 101 southbound back towards Los Angeles. But again, we picked it up around the 10 and the 405, and he made his way all the way beyond Camarillo, I believe, turned around and got back on the 101 south.
Which is somewhat interesting, and to be on that narrow lane that is PCH and such a dangerous road, and then turning around and going right back where you came from. It's possible that the person wants to get back into familiar territory. If you're trying to get away from police, you're not going to want to just turn around on PCH, because you'd have to stop to do that. So maybe this person knows the area well enough that the plan all along was to get on the 101 and get headed back in the other direction, especially if they don't believe they're being followed at this point, because law enforcement is so far behind them.
Yeah. Well, we never know what the plan is for the driver. It never makes any sense to us watching, because we believe, and as it often happens, they are caught. And Scott mentioned the possibility that there's a tracker on this truck, and maybe that is one of the reasons also that law enforcement have chosen to sort of pull back. Also, to your point, he does seem to act up aggressively when they gain up on him. So maybe that's another reason too. But even though the speeds aren't super high, we've seen faster pursuits. The fact that he's in this heavy heavy truck, and it looks like an older truck too, so we don't know the condition of the vehicle. That makes it more dangerous, despite the moderate speeds.
We can't really get into the mind of the person or necessarily how the person came to the vehicle, but it does strike me as a very high possibility that this person just grabbed one of these vehicles from Lowe's and took off. You can rent these vehicles all the time. They're sitting in the parking lots, and in many cases, the Home Depots and Lowe's are having a lot of theft. So who knows what this is? It also could be somebody's property. They were simply moving, and the person jumped in the vehicle and drove away. We don't know how they got it. We just know it was stolen. Right. We are a few seconds away from wrapping up this on ABC7. We're going to rejoin GMA3, What You Need to Know. But if you'd like to continue to watch this pursuit, you can on our streaming platforms. I'm Philip Palmer, along with Giovanna Lara.
ABC7 here.
And we continue to follow the pursuit of this stolen truck. On the 101 southbound, this is Ventura Freeway. We're not sure where he is at this point, but he was making his way back from Camarillo. And again, this is a stolen truck. This is why authorities began the chase, is what we understand. A single driver in the vehicle, as far as we know.
This is the best look we've had of this person. Yes. It does look like if it's a male driver. We haven't known at this point because of the direction. But that right there is one of the reasons I also think that sometimes he drives somewhat erratically, is he's looking around in the cab, he's reaching across the way, and I just think sometimes he just keeps a straight line instead of following and staying in lanes, because he's just simply driving without concern for anybody around him.
And it's hard to drive these large vehicles. It really is. I mean, you have to have a lot of experience to be able to maneuver them and know where to look and how to see where the other cars are around it.
Oh, the blind spots are remarkable.
Yeah. Exactly. So he's going about just under 50 miles an hour right now, but we have seen some very aggressive driving from this suspect, driving on the wrong side of the road, clipping a vehicle. Nothing serious. No one was hurt, but he is determined to get away.
And I think, you bring up a great point about the lack of being able to see what's around you. And as it looks like this person was thinking about getting off on the exit, but whenever this guy was getting in congested traffic.
Once he gets off, it's probably a wrap, unless he gets back on the highway.
The left side, you probably can see them, but not on the right. And so when he was just driving, I think those were the moments where it just didn't matter if anybody was there or not. He couldn't see them probably, and he didn't really care. So when he would go to the left, there's a chances that he could see what was there a little better. But what's interesting about this right now is, again, it's just freeway speeds. And there are people who are driving faster than this person. And so we've seen cars right now. This little minivan is driving faster and going to pass. So it's not so much the speed, but the impatience and the recklessness and the willingness to do whatever to continue moving forward for this truck that I think is the fear.
That's right. And we have seen evidence of law enforcement in pursuit initially. And then, as we've been saying, they pulled back. And then all through the northern part of PCH, no one was following him. There was no evidence of any patrol vehicles. That would be through sort of the LA County Sheriff's Department jurisdiction. But then when he moved into Camarillo, we did see 4 CHP patrol cars gain on him, try to catch up with him. But then again, we saw some more aggressive driving from the suspect, and they pulled back.
Well, and that was, I think, if those 4 officers, or one, it started as 1 and then all of a sudden there were 4, but if they all of a sudden decided, hey, now may be a chance, they got proof, or they got more evidence that what LAPD and what the sheriff had decided to do was the best course of action. Because as soon as that move was made that we saw on videotape just a moment ago of the driving through Ventura County, right in that Camarillo area, that was proof that, hey, he's still very aware that he doesn't want to be caught.
Exactly. And we have Bruce Thomas on the line, law enforcement expert. Thank you so much for talking with us. Can you shed some light or some insight on the strategy on the law enforcement side in this case?
Yeah, in this case, you're dealing with a vehicle that has substantial weight and size. So some of the typical things you may want to do down the road, like a pit maneuver, are probably out the window. Your best course of action would be a spike strip on this type of vehicle.
Well, and even that is somewhat difficult, isn't it, Bruce, because of the rate of speed? I mean, how you can't put officers at risk, and this vehicle is significant in size, and you're going to it could flip. Without if you all of a sudden lost air pressure. I mean, there's risk involved in that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta wait.
That's correct, Philip. Yeah, I mean, ideally the spike strip will deploy what we'll call little pitons inside the tire, which lets the air out very, very slowly. It seems like CHP or Ventura County Sheriffs, it may have a strategy of let's try to slow traffic behind it, create an operational zone area to follow, or maybe do some intervention with this truck.
Oh, God.
Wow, look at this. Look at this. This contact with that vehicle. He ran into another box truck. And what's interesting is he was absolutely looking at the vehicle as he hit him. And now the question is, does that box truck pull over, or does he try to re-engage? And that is a concern there, because now look, the box truck that was hit is still pursuing the suspect vehicle. So Bruce, how does that change things for CHP?
He's probably calling
you can't have a road rage incident.
It's not road rage.
In addition to
I don't think it's going to be road rage, but this guy's following him, probably took a picture, maybe the license plate, probably calling 911, doesn't want to get it away because doesn't. This is crazy. This is crazy.
Get information to file a police report.
Right.
So CHP is going to have to intervene and pull that other box truck over.
Yeah, because they have no idea. There's no police around. So the second vehicle has no idea that this is a pursuit suspect. And by the way, doesn't know if the person's armed, doesn't know if the person's dangerous, doesn't know if that truck has been stolen. But now look, he's coming up, and we've got to see what he's got planned.
Oh, shit.
Yeah,
be careful. Look around off the road.
The situation.
Oh, they're looking at him. He's going to swipe him. He's going to swipe him again.
They'll give you the proper
this is crazy. It might be road rage.
What you should do.
He's getting off. He got him off the highway, though. Ran his off the highway.
Getting off the freeway here. Is this 2000 Oaks?
But look quickly, this person's coming up on an intersection here, and we don't know how they're going to play this, driving through the intersection, passing on the right.
He's still following him,
this
is crazy.
Now this box truck, see if he tries to take an exit and get over there with him, because again, I keep going back to the person in this Mr. Tire truck thinks that he's got a hit and run on his hands.
Right.
And so now look, he might try to stop him. If he gets in front of the suspect vehicle behind, if he tries to slow down, again, creating more danger for the people around.
And look at this. Oh, my gosh. Wow. Another.
What the heck?
This is why you just don't do this.
He's trying to stop him.
He's trying to stop him.
Absolutely. And now look at this. And where is CHP at this point, Bruce? What is CHP thinking?
Look at this.
Yo, he's not letting him go. This is nuts.
As quickly as they can, because this Mr. Tire truck is taking positive action, boxing him in, slowing him down.
But I keep looking at all of the people on the highway right now, watching this occur, not realizing what's going on. And the Mr. Tire truck, again, he thinks he's trying to stop a hit and run vehicle, but the person could be armed in that vehicle because it was stolen. We don't know how it was stolen. And then for the person in the second box truck to be rear-ended, at that point, even if you thought you were just getting information, you can't re-engage, right, Bruce? I mean, at some point, you have to understand life and property are at risk here.
But my question is, what can the CHP do about this?
This is crazy,
what can they do?
Well, taking Philip's question first.
Okay.
Obviously, you don't want to intervene and put yourself in a position of risking your life or other people's lives. It's a hit and run. Pull out of the side of the road. He doesn't know CHP is there, but they will engage him and get him involved as far as all the legal paperwork and everything. Let CHP do their job.
This dude is not fucking around.
And Giovanna, if you could repeat your question.
My question is, what can you do about this situation as a CHP officer following these two guys?
Well, they got to pull over the Mr. Tire truck and get him to disengage.
Yeah.
Well, yes.
Yeah. To Philip's point is, they've got to get
that other truck
too, right? It's
not good for business, is it? Or is it good for business?
They can't do anything legally or lawfully and safely until you get that other truck out of the way. And at this point, that driver is hell bent on stopping that truck.
He is not fucking playing.
Well, and the danger to commuters anywhere near these two vehicles. These two vehicles at this size, if one of them flips, if one of them is spun out and running into other vehicles, you're potentially causing great harm to other people.
He's brake checking him. He is brake checking his ass.
Getting that box truck.
At some point, CHP's got to catch up to Mr. Tire and pull him over to let him know what's going on, right?
Yeah, now they just
look at his ass. He's about to go off the road.
And CHP has got to
probably cops do something. Jesus Christ!
Well, CHP is following the suspect vehicle. Mr. Tire has now pulled over. We don't know
all of a sudden,
what he's going to do, but I'm sure CHP will be up quickly. So now the suspect vehicle is turning off of the freeway. It looks like that is Windsor or Jan's Road, but has definitely pulled off the freeway. I guess he just decided.
That's what I noticed about some of these crazy people that once in a while in society, once in a blue moon, a crazy psychotic person encounters another crazy psychotic that's not going to put up with the shit. And then they hightail it and run. Crazy meets crazy, they run.
Don't get involved.
Yes. No, we hear that, and we hope that our listeners and our viewers are hearing that too. Definitely not. You don't want to engage in a road rage situation for sure. And we don't know if the Mr. Tire guy has been on the phone with 911 maybe he's trying to get a license plate. Who knows? Well, we saw him try to get this truck to stop.
Well, 911 would tell you immediately to pull back. But this is where the Lowe's truck actually ran into Mr. Tire. Mr. Tire and another box truck were simply driving along. I believe, as anyone, somebody hits you, rips off your front bumper, and then keeps going, you're going to at least follow to maybe get a license plate or something, and then you're going to be upset. But look at the driver on the left. That's the live picture. Again, going through an intersection, shown recklessness on the freeway, the engagement with another box truck. It's been just an aggressively violent, rageful act between these two guys. And then now you've got this box truck that has left the highway, probably wanting to get away from the other.
This could be his demise, getting off the highway, but also pedestrians could be more in danger. It's the only thing I worry about. But the problem sometimes too is when you let these people, it's a double-edged sword, right? Because they let him go. Not really let him go, but they disengaged because he slowed down. He was kind of driving somewhat decent. So, okay, like, would you got a tracker? We'll wait till he finally runs out. We'll get the truck. But the problem is, too, the double-edged sword of that is that the running into public, not everybody's going to take the bullshit that these criminals are doing every fucking day. Somebody's going to flip that shit back.
Areas flood the area where he is basically going to have the terminus of this pursuit, and then take him into custody through a coordinated response.
Mm-hmm. When we were talking to Scott Reif earlier, he mentioned a lot of these trucks have trackers on them. Can you talk a little bit about that? And if it does have a tracker, does it make sense just to let them continue on and they catch up with him later? Is that possible?
Yeah, a lot of these type vehicles have low jack or teletrack type issues, so they're just.
The unfortunate thing, though, honestly, Mr. Tire, he's probably going to get in trouble. They're probably going to do something to him, probably. I don't know. He might be charged with something.
Unless weather prevents them from doing that. So even if you were to park the vehicle...
He'd probably get more in trouble than the guy that stole the truck.
They're going to take this person into custody, and they're going to follow this vehicle.
Yo, nervous kid knitter.
Well, as we look at the live shot on the left, the person pulled right out into oncoming traffic. So it's not as if this guy has suddenly... begun driving safely. There's still some impatience and aggressiveness that you're seeing right there, passing a truck in the turn lane into what could be oncoming traffic, and now approaching another intersection in that turn lane. We're going to see if this person is going to just go straight. They did. So again, using the turn lane. Why into oncoming traffic there?
Doesn't need to.
Again, this is such a danger for people who have no idea what's going on, and all of a sudden they're staring at the grill of a box truck.
Yeah, this guy is definitely shown a wanton disregard for public safety.
And you know, we talk about the speeds in this circumstance. It's not horrible, but it's still 50 roughly miles an hour in areas that are probably 35, and you're driving one of these big trucks and certainly not making a stop there at the red light, just cruising right on by.
Oh, if it's a corporate company, then the company would probably be upset with them. I don't know.
They want to get back on the freeway after leaving.
He looks kind of lost, this truck right now. I really thought that the tire guy was just going to like follow, take some notes and call the police. No, this guy took this shit to a whole nother level, bro. What?
So maybe you go through the neighborhoods and now you get back on the freeway. I'm not sure, but it does appear as if maybe that's where the direction that they're going.
Yeah, we saw the freeway in the wider image from the helicopter a moment ago, and I think it's right on the other side of this intersection. So we'll see if he's going to head south. If it's the same freeway, there it is. Oh, no, I guess there's no on-ramp there. So,
but he turned left in front of all of those vehicles in that intersection. So he probably saw the freeway, but as you mentioned, didn't know that there's not an on-ramp right there.
The best marketing.
Unless maybe the right turn there will take you.
Wilson.
So, yeah. But again, even that simple move was dangerous because he was in a straight lane and turned left in front of vehicles. And now we're looking at the 101 again.
Not sure if it's south or north.
It is. We're trying to figure that one out. My guess is it's probably going back southbound just because that was the direction the person was going in the first place, which would mean he might come back up on Mr. Tire again.
So Bruce, what your
thoughts?
No,
it's northbound. My apologies. It does say 101 northbound.
Northbound. Yeah. So Bruce, bringing you back into this, this is perplexing. Like, how do you handle this?
Yeah, going back to what Philip said, this is a good-sized truck. It's got some weight to it. It may be loaded fully with cargo and appliances or whatever. So that creates another problem for the pursuing officers. But in this case, you just got to kind of follow the vehicle. I think if you get right up on it, and this person knows they're being chased, obviously, you may create a dangerous situation more than what we've seen.
Well, we keep running the video there on the right.
I rarely see things like this. I mean, there was one chase not too long ago we did, where there was another vigilante person, but I think the person had just got cut off and they got pissed. And so they started chasing the guy, brake checking, all this kind of crazy shit. The vigilante literally ran the criminal off of the highway, and that was the criminal's demise. But they ended up pulling over the vigilante. I think they arrested him. I don't know. This one, probably the wildest vigilante scenario I've seen, and two trucks going at it.
It's a really dangerous scenario for Mr. Tire Truck.
Mr. Tire.
And I don't even think he realized how dangerous it was because this vehicle is stolen and has been trying to get away from police for the better part of an hour and a half now.
Likely completely unaware of what was happening when he was hit by that box truck.
And it's understandable. I mean, it is understandable to be that upset and that rageful, I would think. Because, Bruce, I mean, this was an unprovoked act on that person, and he just wanted them to stop and do the right thing. So it's,
and he's driving a company vehicle.
Yeah, it might even be his business. It might even be his business. But Bruce, I mean, it's hard. I mean, in hindsight, yes, I'm sure you could think, okay, yes, I should have done that differently. But in the moment, I don't think that the person's actions were that unjustified, except when it got more dangerous to people all around.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like he has a license plate on that.
Not anymore. No. Remember, there was a whole lot going on.
Yeah, that's true.
But Bruce, when you talk about the unjustified actions?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you're upset. You're frustrated. You're like, hey, this guy just hit me. I'm not going to let them get away with that, even though you don't know the other part of the circumstances of this incident. But, we tell people, don't get involved.
Chief Police, Mr.
Discretion is the better part of valor. Mm-hmm. Pull to the side of the road, dial 911. You just don't get involved.
What are there charges that someone could be facing in that circumstance? Maybe we can help our viewers with that as well. If you find yourself in something similar to this, because this could happen again within the next 5 minutes. What happens to a person who acts in that manner? Is it usually a slap on the wrist or a ticket or say, hey, don't do that again?
It elevates itself. You have a hit and run misdemeanor, meaning you have now been involved in an accident and you have not pulled over and exchanged information with the other driver.
How's it going to exchange it with the person?
That's one charge. The second charge, obviously, is the pursuit charge. The other charge, too, if that person in that Mr. Tire truck was hurt and or injured.
Well, I was talking about the charges that Mr. Tire might face.
Yeah, how about the Tire
this suspect faces a litany of charges, but for somebody who had that happen to them, I would think that those actions are reasonable, but you mentioned that you tell people don't do that.
Yeah, I mean, are they reasonable? Yes and no. Are you frustrated? Yes. Are you upset? Yes. How dare you hit me and then drive away? But I don't think anybody would look to charge him with anything.
Okay.
Obviously, he'd get a very stern warning from CHP or Ventura County SO. Yeah.
I mean, I understand following him. I don't think that I would get in front of him and try to stop that big truck.
Yeah.
That might not have been the wisest thing to do, and certainly not anything we recommend. But you know, we keep talking around this over and over again. This guy keeps going. He's just nothing stopping him, and it appears like it is getting rainier.
Going northbound.
Yeah, northbound.
And I'm not sure how our signal is going to be affected the further north we go. But again, we've been following this since about 11:30 on ABC7, and then now we are on our streaming channel. And when we went to the stream, that's when things took a turn. There were plenty of opportunities for unhappy outcomes during our broadcast on ABC7 when this person was driving in and out of traffic. But once we went to the stream and he ran into that box truck, but that's again, it's almost exactly what we had seen elsewhere. He was driving along, he went to change lanes, and either he couldn't see the box truck or he didn't know what he was doing, but he just didn't care and ran into somebody who was just minding their own business. And then that person, everything started to escalate there for a moment. And that's many times the dangers of these chases is, especially in surveillance mode, the people don't realize there's a chase going on right now. They don't realize what this person has done because they see no police officers. They see no law enforcement. And so they don't know to pull over. And then this person just sideswipes them. And everything changes.
Right. That seems to have been an accident, right? When he sort of clipped that other box truck. But you were talking about when we went from the stream, when we started this, we were going from our linear coverage to the stream. He became very aggressive when he realized that those CHP vehicles were behind him. Every time law enforcement has made their presence known, he ratchets up the aggression and the speed and the weaving and the dangerous driving.
And Bruce Thomas stays with us here. And, Bruce, when we had LAPD, we had LA County Sheriff at one point. We had Ventura probably taking a look at this, although we didn't see any law enforcement from Ventura. We did see, that's when the CHP, as what Giovanna was just mentioning, joined. So you've had multiple agencies. And for the most part, everybody has taken the same tact, which is track the vehicle. But how do things change for all of these agencies based off of what we just saw between the two box trucks? Because I still don't see any CHP.
Yeah, I mean, there are a couple of things going on here. One, the unpredictability of the driver. And we've seen that. Trying to pass a vehicle, ramming a vehicle, getting off the freeway, getting on the freeway. Totally unpredictable. The law enforcement seems to be in a tracking mode as the weather is deteriorating with rain. Police helicopters that normally would be able to follow with low-lying clouds and fog, they may not be able to. So in this case, it's going to be a kind of wait-and-see game. Maybe you can get some CHP ahead of the game because it is on the freeway to follow this person. But I don't think they're going to actively engage at this speed.
Yeah, and you said earlier a spike strip would be their only possible.
You can get away with it.
Avenue of stopping him, but with the rain and the other vehicles on the road, that's not likely.
Well, the nice thing about the spike strip is once it's deployed and the little metal, I'll call them like straws, will then bed into the tire, it lets the air out very, very slowly. So it's almost like a controlled stop. But we have seen vehicles run on rims for a long period of time with no rubber. So it's not a.
Imagine like Mr. Tire just showed back up out of nowhere. Oh, well, that would be. I think it's over for Mr. Tire. I can't imagine like what was that? Oh no. I can't imagine what that guy's thinking, Mr. Tire.
It does look like there's two on the back and four on the back. So, now that makes that difficult. And, you get the front, okay, but you're going to have to deflate upwards of 6 tires if you really want him to get down on the rims.
Yeah, and the other thing, too, is to deploy the spike strip, you have to have a safe operational area, not just for the deployment, but for the officer who's going to deploy.
Toyo Toys did a clip of what happened. He literally tagged the Mr. Tire Company, I think, on Twitter and showed them he put the clip. Oh my God.
It usually is done in between one car coming by and another car coming by, and the officer has to toss it out there. So with an unstable vehicle like this, you're really putting the officer at extreme risk because if they swerve to miss that spike strip and tip that vehicle over, that could be life-threatening for the officer.
Yeah, and one of the things we're seeing is the weather deteriorating rapidly as they move up toward Ventura County, heading up toward Santa Barbara, Oxnard. So with the low-lying clouds, law enforcement may just have to give this up and just kind of watch on the on and off ramps as this vehicle goes by.
Well, Bruce, here's what we're going to do very quickly. The stream is going to continue with this. Giovanna and I are going to pause. We have some work that we have to do on ABC7, but then we will rejoin you and we'll continue to follow this. So we'll be silent here for about 2 to 3 minutes, and then we will rejoin the chase. But the picture here on our stream will continue as authorities monitor this box truck, which was reported stolen about 2 hours ago.
Isn't it crazy how things work out? Because I had that stream planned for this guy. We're still going to do it, but I just have to keep pushing it back. So I pushed Ryan back to 5. Turn it down. Nobody's talking. Doesn't have to be too loud. Wow. We've been overdue for a chase for a while. We've been getting a lot of duds. I actually missed one that was a semi-truck. Was sleeping. It was really, really late at night. I think a lot of people were sleeping at that time. And now we get this wild, long chase, and the weather's getting worse. I wonder how much this helicopter can keep up going north on, I guess this is still PCH, I guess? This guy is a liability. I almost wonder if he could get away. I mean, they've seen his face, so I don't know if they'll be able to identify him. I don't know what this guy's plan is. How far north? He's going north, I think. How far north he's going. And with this weather, even though that truck probably has some type of tracking thing, maybe he can park and get away. Have somebody waiting for him. I think he's gone, bro. I can't believe that shit. I cannot believe that. The world that we're in, the time that we're in. I can't get mad at Mr. Tire. I just don't want somebody getting hurt doing that type of thing, you know. But I can understand the frustration. I can imagine. Maybe that's his business, you know. I don't know. The way people are so careless these days, too, to get hit like that and just keep going like nothing. Fox was already done a long time ago. ABC 7, they had a chopper. They had to leave to refuel, and they switched with another chopper, I think. I think this is the last. I'll double check. I think this might be the last helicopter out there. And it looks like we're about to have the same weather over here. It's just looking really nasty outside. Let's see. I haven't got any updates on the chases. Twitter. This is Toyo Toys posted a clip of this. I might use this later too in the second channel for the people that missed it.
Which lets the air out very, very slowly. It seems like CHP or Ventura County Sheriffs, it may have a strategy of let's try to slow traffic behind it, create an operational zone area to follow, or maybe do some intervention with this truck.
Oh, God.
Wow, look at this. Look at this. There's contact with that vehicle. Wow. He ran into another box truck. And what's interesting is he was absolutely looking at...
Look at this. Oh, my gosh. Wow. Another...
What the heck?
This is why...
The tire guy came in front of him and brake checked him, stopped him.
Don't do this because
he's trying to stop him.
Oh, he's trying to stop him.
Absolutely. And now look at this. And where is CHP at this point, Bruce? What is CHP thinking?
Look at this.
Yo, he's not letting him go. This is nuts.
As quickly as they can, because this Mr. Tire truck is taking positive action.
So wild.
Boxing him in, which lets the air out very, very slowly.
So I'll try to put all the clips together later if I have time. People that missed it. I guess that's it, man. We got to get an update on Mr. Tire. We got to get an update on this guy. I don't know. Mr. Tire, and if they ever catch this criminal. Oh my God. Wow. Dang. It sucks to be just left like that. Missed positive action. It sucks to be just kind of left with the hanger, but it was so good, man. We've been needing a chase for a while. Yo, thank you for all the memberships. Mustard Mama. Thank you for, I think, 40 memberships, if that's right. And Wendy Hamilton, thank you so much too. 10 memberships, you're always gifting, so thank you as well. Bindi, thank you for the 12 months. 828 Caroline, Nurse Janice, Graham Cracker, Katrina, 37 months. OG. I'm going to say Katrina at the end of the month. Her family, going to go see her family. Erica J, thank you for the 13 months. I would be Mr. Tire. Tracy, 3, thank you for the 23 months. Free Mr. Tire. We need to go fund me for his bail. Erica J, thank you for the 10. Says 3,800 people give Mel a thanks by clicking the like button. Yeah, thank you so much. 26 months. Cheeky Cheeks is best action we've gotten in a minute. Needed this, baby. Too much sadness. We've been covering. Love y'all. Bumper cars. Bumper car kisses. Ashley POV, thank you for the 6 months. Free Mr. Tire. We didn't see anything. Best chase of 2024. Thank you, Beau. Wow. Oh, God. Is there something else now? Marcel's LAPD following Sunset and Western. Is there going to be another chase? Insane. We should have been on Facebook too. Stream Labs never got back to me. Says automated response. I need a Streamlabs plug. All right. So the plan is, I'll give it a minute to see if anything comes up from this, but we are going to talk about Ryan Garcia next. It's kind of maybe a little bit of a roller coaster. This was his last tweet. I, Ryan Garcia, will not be speaking or tweeting or writing anything other than my fight, boxing, and sports. All topics will be discussed after my fight. 5 weeks of focus.
Now you can get your breaking news and the best coverage from Eyewitness News.
That was really good. Somebody said, oh, damn, I didn't really. I said someone took over the account. Clearly, I think one of his handlers, MK Ultra handlers, got a hold of his ass, got to rechip his ass, reprogram him. Got to reprogram him. He's gone off the hinges. So somebody said, we all know Ryan didn't write this. 2 hours later, they made me bake brownies for them naked, which is kind of funny. We'll talk about that later. Legal team finally had enough. He just needs help, regardless of what the people on the internet want. Because I get maybe he's speaking on something that a lot of people want attention on, but underlying is something going on with him, some type of mental whatever, or substances, or I don't know. All right, so that's the next stream. I pushed it for 5. I may start at 4:30. I just need to take a little break and walk the dogs. Refresh for a minute. I might do 4:30. I think hopefully 4:30 is not pushing it. I'm gonna do 4:45 for now. But if I feel up to it, if I make everything back in time, I'll do 4:30. Let me just put 4:45 because we gotta do that. 4:45, and I'll redirect. Yo, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me during this wild chase. I needed this too, man. It's called Don't Post at All. When you start doing some shit, there's times with myself, I need to just get off this internet shit. If I'm going through something, I need to let me get off this internet. I posted some stuff, not crazy like this guy, but like, let me just stay off the internet for a little bit, you know? And sometimes it's important to have a friend to check your ass too. Hey, shut up. Shut off your device. Somebody snatch his device. Take it away. Don't ruin your career. He's a really young guy too. I heard about that, Sherry. Live 7 students shot. So I'll catch you guys in a little bit. Gonna take a little break. Love you guys. See you. Boop, 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 boop. Boop, boop, boop.